How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and this is another
Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
Yes, this is Lost Heroes of the Golden Age, and this time...
I don't get it.
What do you mean you don't get it?
He's just an archer.
Well, that is kind of the theme for the month. We're doing Archery Month.
But he's just an archer, that's it.
He was also a secret agent.
That happened at the end of his run.
Regardless of when it came in, it happened still in the Golden Age, so it is canon. And, I mean, I don't know if Malibu and Dynamite did him as a secret agent, but that's neither here nor there.
But there's not that much more to him. He's just an archer.
Yes, but Centaur ended in 1942. It's possible that if Centaur had continued, he would have done more. I mean, from 38 to 40 on a concept that nobody else was doing because he was the first archer, I think that's pretty good. I mean, other archers have gone on to do more stories and have had more of a presence. But, I mean, like I said, Centaur owned him, and a lot of people weren't picking up public domain stuff back then to have been able to continue him. But I do think it's actually pretty interesting. He is one of the first costume superheroes. I think he's the first costume superhero after Superman. I think that's what I was reading up on. And he is the very first archer. So it's an interesting enough concept on just that alone. So let's go ahead and we're going to talk a bit about the archer and who he was, and then we'll cover his very first appearance. So let's get to this. The Arrow, Ralph Payne, first appeared in Funny Pages Volume 2, Number 10 in 1938. The original publisher is Centaur, and he's created by Paul Gustafson. Now, The Arrow, being released in 1938, preceded a lot of other characters, so he had a couple of distinctions. He is the first archer in comic books, so people like the Spider and the Green Arrow and even the Golden Arrow from Fawcett comic books would all come after the Arrow. And since he was the first, he was able to claim a name like the Arrow, where, I mean, you would never name someone like that today, but back then it was okay. He is the first costumed, preferencing this, superhero that appeared after Superman. And I mean, 1938, the superheroes were just starting to come out, because most of the characters that I do appeared like right into the 40s or after. Now, he did appear mostly in Funny Pages, and true to how baffling Centaur's numbering is, he appeared in Volume 2, 3, and 4, but the consistency of the numbering system for Volumes 3 and 4 is completely maddening. But he did have a number of appearances, and I mean, like, they're trying to say that he appeared in Volume 3, number 1 through 10. I can't even find Volume 3, number 1. So I can't even match that up if he did. Now, he would appear in a number of the Funny Pages. Since his first appearance, he would appear in every issue after that. But he would only appear on the cover of the last few comics. Because of it being Funny Pages, there was a lot of jokey strips that were in the comic book appearing alongside of him, and they had kind of joke covers, funny covers, funny for that time. He would also appear in 3 issues of The Arrow. Now, Paul Gustafson did do most of the Arrow stories, but let's see, in the last one, I can't exactly see the name very well, but I think it's Bob Burgers, who, when Paul Gustafson, the Arrow didn't have a alternate identity. He just was the Arrow. But when Bob took over, he gave they gave him an identity, a young, blonde, handsome man who was a military, let's see, he was Ralph Payne from the U.S. intelligence. And in the last couple issues of Funny Pages, which was volume 4, they would be showing this alternate identity. And Paul Gustafson's name wasn't in the last few issues like he was in all the other issues. So I'm guessing Bob was the one who did those as well. And I really wasn't a fan of his artwork. I preferred Paul Gustafson a lot better. Now, he only had a couple of cover appearances on Funny Pages and was rarely the lead story, a featured story, but a number of times he was. Now, in all the pages of Arrow Comics, which was 3 issues, he did appear on all of those. And he had an interesting transformation on those. When Paul Gustafson did his artwork, whenever you would see the Arrow face on, he'd be wearing his red Oucher outfit with his quiver. Usually yellow gloves with a yellow belt, but sometimes the yellow gloves weren't in there. And I think that was more of an inking issue than anything else. But whenever you would see the hood face on, it was a dark face. I mean, it looked like just darkness in there. And in the last pages of Arrow Comics, he didn't wear the hood like he did in the other appearances, but he had a mask on, which that was only for the last issue of Arrow, where he only had one story in that, where in the other 2 issues he had a couple of stories. Now, the most interesting thing about the very first appearance of the Arrow is he is very iconic for his red outfit. He would be brought back by, well, I know Dynamite Entertainment would bring him back. I think Malibu also brought him back, but he was always in red. And his very first appearance, he had a blue outfit, and it doesn't match anything else. In the first other couple of issues, before he had the belt and the iconic look, he was in blue, the blue outfit with the blue gloves, but still just as mysterious as he normally was. He did not always kill the people that he was going after, but he did take out the ones that he felt were the most biggest offenders, the ones that he knew would get out of jail or would be able to buy themselves out. He took those guys out, but he would arrest a few as well. He didn't have any trick arrows, but I wonder about how strong the arrows were, because he was constantly piercing surfaces that a regular arrow wouldn't be able to, such as brick and concrete. So he didn't use trick arrows, but he had to have some sort of diamond tip or something, because that would be the only explanation to how it was able to pierce surfaces that a regular arrow wouldn't be able to. Now, there was some moderate success from 1938 to 1940, but as far as it goes, I mean, the Archer concept can only go so far unless you're doing like trick arrows like the Green Arrow. So some slight popularity, and the fact that Centaur didn't go on for very long. The Arrow didn't go on past him and then slipped into the public domain. So let's cover the first issue where he's all in blue. The Arrow by Paul Gustafson. You'd better talk, Hilton, or we'll keep you here until you do. It's no use. He's as tight as a clam. I'm going out to take a rest. Now, we see these guys standing around the guy under a hot light, and we understand that they're the police, and they're trying to get Dilton to talk. Now, they leave him in the interrogation room when they come out, and as they're talking, let's see, we've got to make him talk soon. I'd rather try to squeeze water out of a rock than try to break him down. And then an arrow crashes through the window. Release Dilton at once. He's not the man you want. Do not follow him. I will take care of the rest. The Arrow. Now, this shows that the Arrow is already established in the world, which I probably should have mentioned in the opener. So they decided to take the word of the Arrow and release him, because they think that the Arrow is going to do the job that they can't. Let's see. Then there's a newspaper boy. Dilton released by orders of the Arrow. Extra, extra. Dilton set free. Now, it makes you wonder how much time has passed. Because there's enough time to pass where this has been given to the papers and released, but they don't give a time bubble. They don't say the next day or 2 days later or a week later. They just say, here's the extra. In the spacious home, a mysterious man reads the story. Fools, you'd think they know my handwriting and arrows by now. Now, when we come to find out that he's a Secret Service agent later, he's living quite a lavish lifestyle. Okay, so he's in the gangsters in the hideout. Let's see, that was handled like experts, boys. You'll never find us in this hideout. We sure pulled a fast one on the cops with that phony arrow and note. So they're talking about how they set this up to get Dilton to get free. Let's see, I'm going to take a nap, gang. These cops are pretty rough. Almost got on my nerves. And then we see a mysterious figure over here with an arrow, which it's kind of weird because he's in blue in this issue, but we see a red tunic and yellow pants. Outside, a lone figure stands, watching the lonely shack with a bow and arrow drawn. As Dilton goes into the next room, the arrow strikes. You see, this is why I was wondering how much time has passed, because they have the paper where they talked about him being released, and now he's at the hideout, and he's acting like he just got out, You guys handled, they're talking like he's just been released. So, how did they have this newspaper ready so quickly if it's happening in the same day that they just let him out? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, just then the arrow crashes through, or into the house. I don't know if it was through a window or not. He's here, the Arrow, and I'll get every last one of you for what you've done. The Arrow. Okay, so they're looking out and they're trying to figure out where the Arrow is. And as they approach the door, another arrow flies in and pins this guy to the door. Fighting with arrows. We'll see how he'd led for a comeback. He didn't get me, he just caught my sleeve. So they unleash a torrent of bullets in the area where the arrow is being fired from. And as they come out, they see the Arrow figure, who's now draped in blue again. And they think that they've gotten him, so they take him back to the hideout. Here you go, Mr. Arrow. Long live the Arrow. So they think that the Arrow is dead, but they don't realize that he's just playing possum and they're going over their plans. Go ahead and name one of the men who have gotten away with more things than I have. You can't, because I use my head and they don't. Feeling very superior to his fellow gangsters, Dilton continues boasting about his career, not knowing that the Arrow was listening to every word he said. Okay, so he tells the gangsters that they can go off into town and do some stuff, and he's going to rest for a while. So everybody else leaves, and then the Arrow, you find out that he's just been playing possum. Hello, Dylan, you look surprised. No, Dylan, you've used that gun for the last time. When I get through with you, you'll wish you've never seen one. What are you going to do with me? You will soon know. In the meantime, see if you can remember what happened to a friend of yours by the name of Martin. And just then, some of the other gangsters return, and the Arrow subdues them and two more, and he puts them all in the back of the car. And we pick up where he just left off. Do you recall the friend Martin Dillon? He was found burned to death by acid. He disobeyed my orders. So the Arrow is telling them about what he does to people who doesn't listen to him. So, I mean, that's rather gruesome if he actually did do that. So he drops them off at the station. You will have a choice. So go in there and tell them everything you've told in the house, or come with me, all right? I'll be listening. So tell all. If you don't, you'll never reach your cell alive. We'll talk. So they get in, and the police go, look, Dilton and his gang, they're all tied up. And just as they come in through the door, an arrow streaks through the window and pins him against the wall, and there's a note tied to it. So we'll read these last 3 panels that cover the bottom here. I'll tell you everything. I won't leave out a thing. The arrow was a warning for me. Okay, Dylan. Start in. There's a stenograph waiting. Wonder what's on this note. An alphabet. And keep this other note. Keep this on file for originality of handwriting and arrows, so you won't make the same plundering mistake again. The arrow. Oh, you gotta love that. Then the first note was a phony. Dylan, you're lucky you reached here alive. No man has yet crossed his path and lived to tell of it. From what you've told us, it looks like he left that job to us. So yeah, the cops are fully aware of the Arrow's activities and killing other criminals. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope Archery Month is at least somewhat interesting. I mean, they're archers. They can only do so much. Anyways, we still got some more coming up. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.